Welcome to Knockhill Racing Circuit. It's wet and windy and it's the Sports and Saloons Championship, and we've got an impressive 7 Cooper S's out. So I'll hand over to you, Duncan, for race 1 commentary.
Welcome to the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship here at Knockhill Racing Circuit for the SMRC season finale. And these guys are on track. Wet weather conditions again, as we've seen for just about every class. In fact, we have seen for every class today. Andy Forrest on pole position after qualifying alongside Paul Bryden in his BMW M3. Ron Cumming and Andrew Gallagher, the returning Andrew Gallagher to the championship, fresh from the Rally GB where he won the national part of it. So congratulations to him. And he's also won the Scottish Rally Championship this year, so it really has been a fabulous year for Andrew Gallagher. And then Robert Drummond and Fiona Kindness are 5th and 6th, with Ian Bonthrown and Ian Donaldson, and all Ian row there, with Bonthrown in 7th and Donaldson in 8th, with Mortimer and Covey, the first of the two, or the first of the little mini R53s, not the two of them. But there's quite a few minis out this weekend, because we've got Paul Wilson, Stuart Buchan, we've got Fraser Jameson out as well, Neil Robertson and Jock Borthwick. So quite a few minis have all come to the play, which is good news for the championships. Paul Rankin qualified in 13th, and Fraser Jameson, as I said, was 14th. We've got Lol Forsyth and Andrew Patterson, who carries our onboard camera today. Looking forward to seeing some good camera footage from the BMW E36. And then we've also got Neil Crehan out there as well. But keep an eye on Jock Borthwick. Jock qualified 19th. Didn't actually set a qualifying time. He's going to blitz through, so keep your eyes on that number 3 mini. Quite a few guest drivers in the championship this weekend, 5 in total. Gallagher, Kindness, Bonthrown, Robertson and Borthwick all entered as guests and not scoring championship points. But it was Andy Forrest who was fastest in qualifying with a 55.860 second lap, 10th for second faster than Paul Bryden. Paul Bryden in his beautiful BMW M3 looks very similar to a DTM style car. It's just a beautiful bit of kit. And Ron Cumming in that Nemesis, he has had a few problems with that this year. He has had more than his fair share of problems with that, but let's see how he gets on. And Andrew Gallagher, well, you cannot discount that man. He's out in Kenny McKell's car, which we saw get absolutely, utterly destroyed at the first meeting of the year when Kenny barrel rolled it going in towards the first corner. But here we go, we have got the cars all on the grid. The red lights come on the bridge. We got a full complement of lights now. Who's going to get the jump down towards the first corner? Away they go as they head for Duffy's Dip. A lot of smoke at the back of Ian Donaldson's car there as he heads down towards Duffy's Dip. But it looks like 3 wide in the mid-pack, but it's Forrest from Bryden. Across the grass goes Andrew Gallagher, finding his feet back in the rallying zone there, but he's ahead of Robert Drummond. Then we've got Ron Cumming and Ian Donaldson side by side out of McIntyre's towards the chicane as they come through. Cumming holds off Donaldson as they go through the chicane and up the back straight for the first time of asking, but it is Andy Forrest who leads on the road as they come towards Clark Corner from, look at Paul Bryden and Gallagher all over the back of him now as they head towards the hairpin. And we've got to keep our eyes further back in the mid-pack for the mini battle which rages on. Gallagher trying to go around the outside of Bryden. These cars, big cars, lots of power but lots of grip as well, as Gallagher's now on the inside of Bryden as he makes his way up the main street. He's trying to get the cut back as they go up and power over the crest of the hill. And it looks like Gallagher has just got his nose ahead as they went past the camera, the static camera on the pit wall. Yes, he has. Gallagher into second place to chase down Andy Forrest as we now go through McIntyre's, Bryden 3rd, Drummond. Then we have got very sideways Robert Drummond there. Did he hold that? No, the yellow flag comes out. Robert Drummond jumps off the road right in front of the Power Images cameraman there as well. Robert Drummond does a little bit of reversing. That was in front of Ron Cumming and Ian Donaldson. So those guys getting a great view of that as through Clark Corner. Wow, lost for words here almost, as Andrew Gallagher completely broadsides Kenny McKell's Mitsubishi Evo through Clark Corner. That was pretty special stuff there, as he manages to hold that one together, and into the hairpin comes Cumming and Donaldson, the Nemesis kit car. Up the main straight, Donaldson using a little bit of grass here as well as the track and the gravel in his Evo 10 as they go over the crest of the hill and head towards Duffy's Dip. There goes Fee Kindness flashing through the shot. And the mini battles all come through as well. Paul Rankin further down, that was Jock Borthwick. Oh, very, very sideways Ian Donaldson. And has he got a problem? Yes, he has. Something's gone wrong with that car. And that looks like it was about to go into straight retirement there for Ian Donaldson. So a bit of a disaster for Ian. Now what has gone wrong there? Massive sideways. Has he been dropping fluid? Or has the car just had enough of it? As coming has a little bit of a sideways moment through Clark Corner as well. As we head towards the hairpin now. Gallagher starting to hunt down Andy Forrest at the sharp end of this race. Andy Forrest in his Westfield SEI in the A3 class goes past a camera shot there. Andrew Gallagher in the Mitsubishi AG Evo as it's classed as. He's a guest this weekend. And we've also got further back down the field Ian Bonthrone, another guest in that beautiful blue BMW M3. He's having all sorts of troubles with Vic Covey up the main straight in that little mini. Ollie Mortimer just ahead of Vic Covey, so battles raging further down. There's Paul Wilson in another mini. A zero Andy Forrest has a big moment going through the chicane, and up the back straight he goes towards Clark Corner. Through goes the Nemesis kit car in the A3 class of Ron Cumming. And that car is normally the type of thing you would see in a straight line. You wouldn't normally see it making the shapes that Ron Cumming is putting it in just now. As we go back on board, or not back on board for the first time, the BMW E36 318i of Andrew Patterson up the main straight. Now it's Fee Kindness. Oh, Duthie! Scott Duthie's a big spin at the exit of Clark's. And he's done that right in front of everybody, and that's a horrible, horrible place to be sitting. We can see him away in the distance in this camera shot. Duthie still sitting at Clark Corner, and he's got to try and rejoin the track without being T-boned. That's the biggest problem for him. Now, we never did see a stopped Ian Donaldson car. This car number 18 goes through there. That's Ian Crehan. But Ian Donaldson, is that his car behind the Marshalls hut at the chicane? Marshalls hut, there's Duthie. Still in the gravel trap at Clark's, reluctant to try and play chicken, and I really don't blame him. He's sitting in an absolutely horrible place here. He's going to have to watch the marshals for some sort of advice, but here comes the safety car, and that is possibly a good move. It's rolled forward, the safety car, but it hasn't as yet fired on the lights on the roof of it as the leader goes through there. Andy Forrest, then Andrew Gallagher. Look at the speed of these cars. Here goes our cameraman Andy Patterson, then Paul Bryden, then Ron Cumming. So on board with Patterson. Good camera view this. Let's just have a listen. Wow, Paul Bryden, let's not have a listen. Paul Bryden flashes through, as does Ron Cumming. Great camera work there. Still no safety car boards or sign from the marshal. Duthie's attempting to get this out of here. Oh, we're going to have to hold on. Why don't you try reversing it back in, Scott? You maybe can go along the side of the tyre wall. But this is a terrifying thing to watch. You almost know what's going to happen, but Cumming comes through. There'll be double waved yellow flags at this corner. So I would imagine every driver paying attention as Duthie now goes for it and thankfully gets away from Clark Corner. And there will be a massive sigh of relief as the safety car comes out. So that unfortunate timing there. And it's put Fraser Jameson and that will be Neil Robertson between the leader and second place man on the road. And if this was NASCAR, those cars would hopefully get waved past and get the wave around. But look at that, it's fallen in the favour of Andy Forrest in the Westfield SEI, the 2-litre sports car that he is in. And he has got those two minis between himself and the hard-charging Mitsubishi Evo of Andrew Gallagher. Fraser Jameson. Well, did we not miss Fraser at the last meeting, or was it Stuart Buchan that was missing? Can't remember, but great to see him back on track. He's graduated from Superlap Scotland, and he's a full-blown SMRC racer now. There's our camera car going through. That's car number 26, Andrew Patterson, and Andrew in the B3 class. So, lights are still on the safety car just now, but how long is it going to stay like that for? Let's keep our eyes on this and see how we get on as they all make their way up the back straight towards Clark Corner. Drying track lines here, drying lines on the track. Lights off the safety car. Ooh, dearie me, Alan Barton getting that safety car just a little bit kind of out of shape coming through Clark's there. Shows you just how slippery the track is just now as Barton heads away towards the hairpin to park the John Clark BMW in a place of safety at the track oval. So it's over to Andy Forrest now, and look at this, he's got a nice gap over Jameson and Robertson, and Gallagher's been caught a little bit napping as well as everybody else as they come in towards the hairpin. And the safety car pulls down the hill, and Andy Forrest guns his Westfield up the main street. There he goes past us now. Gallagher can't pass anybody until he passes that line over the crest of the hill there, which is out of our sight. And you can see him holding back. He's got past one. Jameson, he doesn't get past Jameson away. No, Jameson gives him a little bit of room there. Gallagher should sweep round the outside, and he does. Beautiful bit of driving from Andrew there. In the number 37 car, through McIntyre's he goes, and the fast guy is well and truly in amongst these minis now. And that's Cumming and Bryden, and Ron Cumming ahead of Paul Bryden as they go through the chicane and up the back straight towards Clark Corner. But there, with the lights on, and I like those lights on the Forest car, heads towards the hairpin. Just listen to that Mitsubishi Evo of Andrew Gallagher. Good grief. Massive amount of horsepower underneath the bonnet on that one. There goes Fee Kindness, holding off Ian Bonthrown then. Mortimer, Covey, Wilson all together. Patterson, Rankin, Buchan, Crehan, Forsyth, Borthwick, all flashing through there as they head towards the hairpin. Once again back on board as Paul Rankin goes round the outside of Andrew Patterson. That BMW does sound really, really special. As he comes into hairpin, possibly a little bit of a lock up there. As through up the inside goes Stuart Buchan, and that will be Lowell Forsyth as well. And there goes Robert Drummond in his Escort Cosworth. Wow, look at the speed of that Escort Cosworth. Flies up the main straight there and makes a good couple of positions after that spin which we saw him having earlier on in the race. And round goes Paul Bryden. Paul Bryden loops the BMW M3 at Clark Corner. Now that looks like it will be stuck. It's gone in there and the back wheels have sunk pretty much in the gravel as Fraser Jameson comes to say hello to him. And where's Fraser going? Is Fraser breaking down there? Or is he offering some help to Paul Bryden? But that's something you don't see very often. We're going to see double waved yellow flags from Andrew Patterson's car here. There's the flags on the left as he comes in, has a big moment himself there. Now, do you think there's possibly something on the track there? Jameson's broken down in a separate incident, but you saw how quickly the car snapped on Andrew Patterson, and Bryden's car just swapped ends. Didn't look like it gave him a second to try and catch that. As the safety car once again rolls forward from the hairpin, and it will need a safety car to get Paul Bryden's car out of there. Fraser Jameson has stealthily climbed over the tyre wall at Clark Corner, and now we get the safety car boards and yellow flags waving. So once again we have a safety car intervention here at Knockout for the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship, race number 1 for these guys and girls today. And once again it's Clark Corner which has caused a little bit of a tricky moment, and it's this time for Paul Bryden. Backwards into the gravel trap, right in front of the marshal's hut, back wheel sink into the gravel, and with a race clutch you don't get much in the way of feel, it's either on or off. Unfortunately Paul spun the back wheels in that car, then going nowhere. Behind the safety car now, Andrew Gallagher doesn't have a couple of pesky minis in front of him. He is right onto the back bumper, or whatever it is in a Westfield, the back cover of Andy Forrest, and we await everybody to catch up. Here comes Ron Cumming now. Behind Ron Cumming it will be Fiona Kindness now that Paul Bryden has exited stage left, and then Ian Bonthrown behind him, then Neil Robertson a mini, and he is a lap down because Ollie Mortimer, Vic Covey Jr., Robert Drummond and Paul Wilson, everybody else all in actual race formation now as they go through. So there's our cameraman Andrew Patterson as well coming through. Unfortunately another safety car, but it is a nice safety car to see, and Alan Barron has been showing us just how slippery the track is. And then actually Alan had his moment at Clark Corner, so I wonder if something has been put down on the track which makes it very, very slippery. As we see the marshals there, very experienced team there. Sector Marshal on the radio, making sure that race direction are fully kept up to speed with everything that's going on with the recovery process here. Recovery discovery part right in the middle of the track, which is going to make things rather tricky, to tell you the truth, as the pace car sneaks past on the inside, as does everybody else. So safety car once again, the second safety car, and it's at the same corner. You can see the marks from Scott Duthie just a little bit further along the gravel trap, which Scott just got away from as the safety car was called and pulled out, which is kind of typical. Paul Bryden was going absolutely nowhere though in that M3 BMW. as the pack all roll round while the race has been neutralised just now. And it's just a chance to, I don't know, maybe wind the window down, get a bit of fresh air in. Hopefully free up any visibility problems that you have. In the open top cars, the single seaters and the legends, it's really visor, helmet related visibility issues and a lot of spray. In these cars, what you don't want to have happening is steaming up on the inside of the windscreen, because you cannot lean forward from your seat to wipe the windscreen. If it does start steaming up, well, that's you. You're going to just have to try and grin and bear it. And keeping a clear windscreen is absolutely paramount. You see Paul Rankin there, he's one of the open top cars, as is Andy Forrest. And it's all about a proper helmet and proper visor setup in those cars for those guys. As the safety car comes through Duffy's Dip, and we wait for the lights to go off and we'll go back racing here. Current fastest lap of the race is a 54.2 or 54.5, sorry, for Andy Forrest. That's pretty quick actually, considering these track conditions are far from ideal. In qualifying, Forrest done a 55.8 second lap, so a little bit quicker than he was in qualifying, obviously finding the grip out there in the actual race. And let's see if we get some of that. Second fastest lap is a 55 flat, and that's for Andrew Gallagher. 55.0 for Gallagher. In qualifying this morning, he done a 56.4, so Andrew, albeit it's not his car, getting up to speed with the car and starting to find that he does actually like the car. The car that he's built, along with a lot of help from the guys at AG Racing, AG Motorsport. Remember, Kenny McKell absolutely destroyed that. You could find the video of that on a previous YouTube video which the SMRC have put out, and Kenny had that, shall we say, unfortunate moment at the hairpin where something obviously went wrong with the car and the brakes, and he got to Duffy's Dip, and it was effectively like he'd pulled the handbrake on, and the car turned hard right just as he hit the brakes, and it ended in an enormous accident right in front of the marshals. Thankfully everybody walked away from it, no marshals obviously hurt, and Kenny managed to get out of the car. Such were the safety mechanisms all working perfectly. But we're racing again here at Knockhill Forest with a massive jump start, or not jump start, jump on the start, should rephrase that. Pulls away from Andrew Gallagher there. Andrew in hot pursuit, but some distance behind Andy Forrest as they make their way up over the crest of the hill. Everybody else streams through, including our cameraman Andrew Patterson, and he's still ahead of Ian Crehan in that Mazda MX-5. Back round to the exit chicane, here comes Andy Forrest, and that thing just looked pretty good and planted. Ron Cumming all over the back of Andrew Gallagher, and in turn Fiona Kindness has dropped Ian Bonthrow. Then with the mini battle, which Robert Drummond is well and truly in the middle of, and he won't want to be there, so he'll hopefully use the extra horsepower. Oh, Stuart Buchan arrives at the chicane off circuit and rejoins at the crest of it, but Robert Drummond will be trying to get past those minis as into the hairpin. There was a little bit of a look from Ron Cumming there, and a bit of a defensive dive towards the inside from Andrew Gallagher as they make their way up the main straight over the crest of the hill. Cumming and Gallagher together, not in that order. Then Fee Kindness ahead of Ian Bonthrow, but look further back, Robert Drummond already ahead of Ollie Mortimer. So then it's the mini battle, will be Mortimer, Covey and Wilson all together, and that one will rage throughout the course of the race. Ollie Mortimer as yet unbeaten this year. He really has been sensational this year in those Mini Cooper R53s. As the leader goes through the chicane and up the back straight, chased hard by the 2 second and third place guys, now very much together. And Fee Kindness, a little bit of a lonely race now, and she won't be minding that because it's just all about getting to the end. That's what she's got to do. Mortimer, Covey, where is Paul Wilson? Big gap back to Paul Wilson. There he comes through now, ahead of Neil Robertson, Paul Rankin, Lowell Forsyth, and the ever-present, almost scary, out of control Jock Borthwick as a marshal walks past the camera view there. Must admit I got a bit of a fright there, thought that was possibly a bit of a car, but a bit of a strange hat for a marshal to wear as everybody streams up the main straight. Over the crest of the hill they go, and Andy Forrest very much at home and in control just now, and he just makes it look effortless when everybody else is sliding about and sideways and out of control and making little mistakes. Andy Forrest just absolute pinpoint as we have a waved yellow flag at the chicane. That means something's happened at Clark Corner. At the top of the back straight there will be double waved yellow flags here, but we can't see any cars off. Well, that's good. Hopefully the cars managed to get away from the scene of the incident and rejoin the race. As Ron Cumming, this time through Clark Corner, a little bit out of shape in the Nemesis kit car as he come in towards the apron, closing up towards the back of Andrew Gallagher in that 37 all-white Mitsubishi. And it is a bit of a weapon as the checkered flag flies. Andy Forrest takes a very well-deserved win from Gallagher and Cumming. Second and third, Fee Kindness will come home for a very well-deserved fourth, ahead of Robert Drummond. What a comeback drive for Robert Drummond. He'll be happy with that one. Bond thrown, and the first of the minis goes to Ollie Mortimer once again over Vic Covey, and Paul Rankin comes home ahead of Paul Wilson in 10th. Let's hand down to Fee for some driver interviews after race number 1 for the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship.
Well done, Ollie. Another win there, although you had Vic Covey trying to do a few lunges up the side of you.
Yeah, it was that. Last race being it was Paul Wilson, now it's Vic Covey, so it just shows that it's getting closer and closer at the front, the sharp end of the Cooper S's. That race I thought I had it in the bag, and then you know yourself, like in these wet conditions anything can happen. Safety car came out twice, someone spun off in front of me, so it was hard, and we managed to get the victory with no damage or anything, so now I'm happy with that.
And you must be happy that there's 7 minis out now.
Yeah, exactly, I meant to say that there's 7 cars out this weekend. Joe Borthwick came back, he must have been listening to us, remember? And we got Neil Robertson out in one of David Slay's cars, and just the usual guys are out, so but everyone's out at once, so 7. So it's looking good for maybe double figures for next year. Big thanks to Boogless Gas Services, Edinburgh Remaps, Jolly Restaurant and Edinburgh Watch Company and DH Auto Spares. They've been great all year, and I hope they can come give me a hand, support me next year.
Was there a big oil slick out on track, and did that affect you at all?
I think something might have happened somewhere because it started getting a wee bit slippy through the back end of the track. But you sort of expect that in the sports and saloons a wee bit, you know, because there's always someone that's chucking oil at the back. But nah, it was manageable. The track was getting drier as well, so that helped. So we'll see how the wets are and see what the conditions are like for the next one.
Good, well I hope you have fun out there and best of luck.
Thanks very much, and I'll just say thanks to all the marshals and staff that are outside because it must be freezing, but thanks, cheers.
Welcome to race number 2, and look at the track conditions the guys and girls have got to contend with now out here at Knockhill for the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship, their second race of the weekend. You've got rivers crossing the track at Clark Corner now. There has been an absolute downpour of rain, and it's really lasted for about 3 hours now, so the drivers out there coping with very tricky conditions as they come through Clark Corner. A lot more standing water on the track, and a few cars not going to be starting the second race. Robert Drummond being one of the cars, Fraser Jameson the other car, and the luckless returning Ian Donaldson. Great to see Ian back. Unfortunately, after that race 1 retirement, he will not be starting in race number 2. So let's see how this unfolds as Gallagher makes his way up towards the start line. Andy Forrest though is the man on pole position after that race number 1 fastest lap and race win, and he really did own that race. Very dominant off the restarts, and we had 2 of them, 2 safety car interventions, unfortunately upset the basic rhythm of the race for a lot of drivers. Let's see how race number 2 unfolds for us when we get the go. Forrest, Gallagher, front row of the grid, Cumming, Kindness, Drummond. Alongside Robert Drummond actually has we should mention that, great comeback drive for Robert Drummond. Spinning in race number 1 at McIntyre's, and he fought his way all the way back through, got through the pesky Mini Coopers, that battle in the midfield, which you really don't want to be around when Ollie Mortimer and Vic Covey and Paul Wilson are there. But Robert Drummond really does deserve a big pat on the back. It was a very, very good comeback drive for Robert. He's alongside Ian Bonthrown as well, and then we've got all the minis behind him with Paul Rankin unfortunately in the middle. What's Jock Borthwick doing there? That's a rather strange place and position on the grid for Jock Borthwick. That's Andy Patterson, our on-board camera, the BMW there on the left-hand side of the grid. And who's that? Lowell Forsyth waved in towards the pit lane. So a non-start for Lowell Forsyth, or are they checking something on that car? Green flag at the back, that's all that matters for us. The 5-second board goes out. The red lights are coming on. This is a pretty much accelerated race start here. Full complement of lights. And away we go down towards Duffus Dip for the first time. We go on board with Andy Patterson as he goes underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge into a wall of spray. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is basically no fun as he comes through Duffus Dip there, manages to keep on the road. Oh, round goes Paul Rankin, round goes Patterson as well. So that's one way to start the race. Great onboard camera footage from that, and down the grass we slither. Bits of car all over the top of the circuit there as Paul Rankin gets himself together at the top of Duffus Dip. The marshals now in attendance for him as Gallagher comes through ahead of Forrest and Ron Cumming. Then we've got Fee Kindness in the Subaru ahead of the BMW of Bonthroad, and in Mini 1, 2, 3, but this time it's not Vic Covey in second place in that mini battle, it is Paul Wilson ahead of the yellow car. Paul Wilson in his red number 27 chases down Ollie Mortimer as they come in towards the hairpin. Great stuff on the opening lap, but let's hope Paul Rankin's managed to get away from where he was at Duffus Dip as we come up the main straight. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be a sports and saloon car race without Ollie Mortimer doing something there, but the safety car comes back out. Some drivers a little bit late to see that one, unfortunately, but the luckless Paul Rankin, we got a good onboard view of it. We couldn't see absolutely everything because of the spray, but Rankin, as Borthwick heads for the pit lane there, Rankin was involved in that. He went round, and then Patterson went round as well. Scott Duthie now heads for the pit lane as well, so, and Andrew Patterson also going to head for the pit lane. So our onboard camera, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be parked up for the day as he comes in past the timekeepers on the left hand side. And where will Andrew Patterson go? And he comes, so obviously there must have been contact to this car as well. I'm wondering if he maybe got a dunt up the rear as Paul Rankin and the marshals try and move that Westfield, which is on the grass, down at Duffus Dip there, the Westfield Aero in the A3 class. And all this basically means that Andrew Gallagher can cruise round with the radio on, listen to Knockhill FM, have the heaters on, and maybe just enjoy the view here at Knockhill, while Andy Forrest gets frozen wet and the rain drills down into the cockpit of that open top Westfield. The joys as we make our way up the back straight just now. The John Clark BMW through Clark Corner. And let's hope the marshals can deal with that pretty quickly at Clark's. At Duffus Dip, sorry. Marshals picking up small bits of car now. And it looks like we're about ready to go racing the high-vis waterproofs. Very much order of the day here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. So lights still on the safety car. Looks like we're going to have yet another lap, unfortunately, because it's possibly a bit late for those lights to go off now as they come in towards the hairpin. So another lap at the pace car speed, around about 60, 80 kilometres an hour as he comes through the corner, and the drivers in the car will be wanting the pace car to go just that little bit quicker here, and then we get the race back underway. We did mention Andrew Gallagher earlier on, and great to have him back racing, the Scottish Rally Champion for 2018, and also went down and competed in Rally GB in the national part of that, and he won that as well. His co-driver, we should mention Jane Nichol as well, a famous co-driver in the rallying scene, and mad as a box of frogs, so ideal for the passenger seat, telling a man to go faster through a forest, just what you're wanting. My idea of terrifying fun, that to tell you the truth. But Andrew Gallagher and Jane Nichol, congratulations. It's been a pretty great year for those guys in their cobble shop backed Ford Focus. Andy Forrest, well, we've seen him competing quite a lot in SLS, and he's now back in the SMRC, and that car is very, very fast. We are racing again here at Knockhill for the SMRC finale for the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship, and over the crest of the hill we go. Gallagher leads the way, and it's been a long time since I've been able to say that, as he comes through Duffus Dip, chased by Andy Forrest. Sparks coming off the front of Andy Forrest's car there. So the car touching the ground. The marshals deserve a medal for waving that green flag after the restart. Just look at these weather conditions. Absolutely horrible, horrible stuff. And there's Paul Bryden. It's been a good couple of corners for Paul Bryden, because he would have started at the very, very back of the field, and that BMW already getting himself a little bit further up in the rankings. As we come through Clark Corner, Fee Kindness under a bit of pressure from Ian Bonthrown as we head towards the open. Those 3 minis all together, and then Bryden comes through as well. So Bryden's well and truly up for this one in the BMW M3. A little bit of unfinished business in that car, fighting in that A3 class, 3.5 litre engine inside that BMW. And look at the minis in towards the hairpin. He will not be wanting to get involved in this, as the leader comes into Duffus Dip and in a ball of spray behind him with those lovely roof lights on. Now, I don't know if they're going to be giving him much in the way of visibility or if they're just going to upset Andrew Gallagher every time he looks in his mirror. There maybe is method in the madness there for Andy Forrest, as through McIntyre's comes Fee Kindness just now, and Fee driving a great race, to tell you the truth, as she makes her way over the crest of the chicane, now ahead of Ian Bonthrown in the very similar coloured BMW M3. Towards the hairpin, Andrew Gallagher under pressure from Forrest. Forrest slithers up the inside. Can he make that stop? Yes, no, maybe. Yes, he can. Runs a bit wide though. You can see the front end just not wanting to bite as he comes through there. And up the main straight they go. Over the crest, off the hill. Gallagher surrendered the lead for maybe about 5 seconds there, and then takes it back as they go through the heart of the hairpin from Andy Forrest. But we can see Andy Forrest very much up for the battle here, and that's what we want in this class. A good 19 cars qualified in this class, considering we had 6 or 8 at the meeting before that, so a good 19 strong field. Unfortunately, we've lost a couple of them, down to 13 cars on track just now after that first lap stramash, which took Jock Borthwick, Scott Duthie, Andy Patterson, and obviously the luckless Paul Rankin, who was out at Duffus Dip on the scene. But everybody else, Fraser Jameson and Ian Donaldson, not starting the race. Robert Drummond also not starting. Through the chicane go the minis, and that's Stuart Buchan and Neil Robertson in the Davis Slay racing car, and Stuart Buchan very much on it, as is number 177 Neil Robertson. Good bit of sideways action coming through there, and Bryden now slithers alongside and passes the BMW of Bonthrown, but just can't get the car stopped at the hairpin. A lot of drivers struggling with the hairpin today, not just in this class. On the way into the corner, Bryden struggled. On the way out, Bonthrown struggled. These weather conditions are deteriorating somewhat now, and this is when you would possibly want to be in a 4-wheel drive car, and that is what Andrew Gallagher is in. 4-wheel drive Evo, rear-wheel drive for Andy Forrest, struggling a little bit with traction at the exit of the chicane. Ron Cumming in that Nemesis, which is a rear-wheel drive mid-engine car, as he heads towards the hairpin in hot pursuit of the two that just flashed through our shot. And there goes Ron. And we wait for Fiona Kindness with Bryden right underneath the bumper of the track, Scotland Subaru. So something will possibly be happening at the hairpin as Lol Forsyth is rejoined, albeit making it look pretty difficult. Round in a circle for Forsyth, and ends point in the right direction. Select first gear, disappear from the scene of the crime. Good move, Lol, I like that one. But slippy conditions at McIntyre's turn 3. And not just McIntyre's, that car looks a proper handful to drive. It doesn't look much in the way of fun at all, as Forrest now pursues Andrew Gallagher through the chicane. But you can just see that Mitsubishi just has more grip. Simple fact, 4-wheel drive is going to be better in these conditions as Bryden comes through. Oh, and Bonthrown slithers one up the inside of Fee Kindness there. And Fiona Kindness does not have anything for that one. Bonthrown on a mission there, and Fiona a little bit wide through the chicane after that, just getting herself back together. And that's Vic Covey. Vic Covey straight on at Duffus Dip and rejoins the track at McIntyre's. So Vic there having a little bit of trouble at turn number 1. That would probably have happened on the way into the corner on the brakes in the Mini. And that's let Ollie Mortimer and Paul Wilson off the lead as they head towards the hairpin in their Mini battle. And the next two cars behind Fiona Kindness. Fiona not going to be coming under much in the way of Mini threat. Paul Wilson just basically trying to get a bit of clear vision on the way in towards the corner there, as you can see them splashing through the puddles as they turn into that hairpin. And then up the main straight they go to strike another lap off the lap scorers boards over the crest of the hill in these dreadful, dreadful weather conditions for the final SMRC meeting. But the Minis still giving us a proper little bit of battling as we go in towards the closing stages of the race. Bonthrown through the chicane, and well, that move that he made on Fiona at McIntyre's was pretty strong stuff, but it was also very, very clean, as Gallagher has a bit of a moment leaving the hairpin there and goes up the main straight over the crest of the hill now. And where has Andy Forrest gone? There he is there, just couldn't see him in the spray. Andy Forrest still very much on the case. As we go down through the top of Duffus, Crehan stays well out the way. We wait the leaders to come back into shot. Here comes Gallagher, chased by Forrest. Andy Forrest just having to be nice and gentle on that throttle pedal. And Stuart Buchan looks like he's having all sorts of fun and problems with grip out there. And the two leaders about to come up and pass Robertson and Buchan, possibly on the next straight. Just the speed of these cars compared to the Minis. The Minis aren't slow. And that Mitsubishi and that Westfield. A Westfield again having a look up the inside. Can he get that stopped? Can he? Yes, he can. But he doesn't get the move made on Andrew Gallagher. Picks up the throttle pedal and the car then wants to jump out from the back off Andy Forrest as they go over the crest of the hill in towards Duffus Dip again. Now they've got to try and contend these two Minis. Up the inside goes Gallagher. Good bit of driving from Robertson there. He clearly saw the blue flags being waved and made a good attempt at getting out of the way for Andrew Gallagher as Kindness comes in towards the open. Big gap back. Should be Ollie Mortimer would be the next car if we were going to stay at that camera spot and see, but we didn't. Oh, Forrest, very lucky to get away with that one. Hooked a wheel over the inside of the sausage curb, both wheels, and that really kicked the car sideways, but man, he knows what he's doing there. Very lucky to get away with that one, possibly unsighted with the cars in front of him and the spray. Andy Forrest, oh, Andy Forrest spins on the exit of Clark's. There's something you don't see very often. That's well out the corner. Andy Forrest facing the wrong way, grass all over the track, and that is a turn up for the books. Through goes Ron Cumming into second place, and Forrest gets off the grass. Does he? Yes, back on the tarmac, and away he goes. Now we just picked up the tail end of that, but it shows you just how much power these cars have got. And driving through the rear-wheel drive, rear wheels, that is going to want to make that car be a bit lively on the way towards the hairpin. So Andy Forrest goes from second down to third place. Only loses one place in that actually, and that's fair play. Andrew Gallagher still away at the front. I'm pretty sure he'd have seen that happening in his mirrors. And will he be getting a pit board from his guys? Probably not. He'll get a thumbs up as Neil Robertson comes through the chicane very sideways. There's your new second place man. It's car number 9, Ron Cumming, leading the way in A3 class. And Ron will be pretty happy with that one. He'll be very surprised to have seen Andy Forrest at the side of the track. As Lowell Forsyth has another moment coming through Clark there. Just not Lowell's day today. But in towards the hairpin, we see Ron Cumming just because it was shot Forsyth, and then we're going to keep our eyes on Andy Forrest as he comes in towards the hairpin. In fact, no, we're not. We're picking their eyes up because look at this. Bryden and Bond thrown together coming in, and then the two Minis battle out at the chicane ahead of the MX-5 of Ian Crehan because they're all about to come under the cosh of Andrew Gallagher, and Gallagher is setting an absolute fabulous pace here. Fastest lap in this race, 56.452, goes to that man in the number 37 Mitsubishi, the AG Evo. Andrew Gallagher with the fastest lap of the race. The next fastest lap in the race actually goes to Andy Forrest, and it's a 56.8, so he's only 4/10 off Gallagher, but he has been off and into the weeds. So this man, what a year he's had and what a race day he has had today. He comes up the main straight, he will go past the last lap board. There it comes out on the left hand side. Bit of a small board, but every driver will be desperate to see it in these conditions as he barrels over the top of Duffus Dip there. Ron Cumming gets past Stuart Buchan on the way in, but that hairpin's looking a little bit tricky for some of these drivers to contend with today as they go up the main straight, over the crest and towards Duffus Dip. Mortimer and Wilson through Clark's. Andrew Gallagher doesn't need to go past these two Minis, but he will as they come in towards Clark Corner. He's already slid past Paul Wilson there, and that's going to upset Paul Wilson's rhythm. Paul Wilson now needs Andrew Gallagher to try and upset Ollie Mortimer, but Mortimer put his indicator on there to say I'll stay over to the left hand side, and that gives Gallagher a clean run up the inside towards the hairpin. If he can get the car stopped, yes he can. It does upset Mortimer a little bit there though. not enough to let Paul Wilson get back into it. Checker flag is ready. Andrew Gallagher wins. Car 37 wins the final race of the 2018 season for the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship. He'll be absolutely delighted, as will car owner Kenny McKell, that the car has now been rebuilt, fully restructured and built, and is a race winner. Second place for Oncoming, third for Andy Forrest. After that, off Born Throne, Kindness and Bryden all come through, with Mortimer the first mini ahead of Paul Wilson and Vic Covey Jr. Stuart Buchan rounds out the top 10. Let's hand down to Fee for a couple of interviews.
Well done, Andrew. That was a good win for you. Tricky conditions?
Aye, it was when we went out in the warm-up lap, we were behind Andy's Westfield thing, and the visibility was pretty bad. So I kind of thought, I need to get in front of this. It's pretty quick, because if I get in front of him, then you've got the advantage of him not being able to see the same. So we got in front, and he pushed us hard for most of the race, but we managed to keep there. So keep there to the end. I think he had a problem near the end. So, but definitely a tough race for me.
And you're used to these slippy conditions, because I heard you were doing the Rally GV the other day?
Aye, it's in the forest. It's still a bit different from here though, but new to the car, well, reasonably new to the car anyway as well, so just out for a shot of it today, so it's definitely a trying day for me.
Good, well congratulations again.